Hey, y'all. In a pretty terrifying turn of events, the Capitol and President Snow actually attacked our recording equipment in the middle of recording today. That's right. They came after Lenore's modem. Due to this, despite doing our best, our workers lit patriots fighting back. There are moments in this episode where Lenore sounds somewhat glitchy or robotic. Never fear, that is just the sound of struggle. That is just the people of the districts and the global proletariat fighting back. But we had to throw that out there. You're going to run into that a couple times today. Don't worry. Don't worry. The struggle is all part of the march towards victory. And understand by listening to this episode, you are sticking it to President Snow, to the Capitol, to those fat cats running the Hunger Games. So, yeah, pray for Lenore's modem, folks.
We would be safe inside the Justice Building by now, if I hadn't stopped, if I hadn't left my flowers. Instead, from the deep shade of the veranda, we see the whole thing. A pair of peacekeepers dragging the old man who whistled to the top of the steps, forcing him to his knees before the crowd, and putting a bullet through his head. We are hitting the ground running this week, folks.
Yeah, wow. This book doesn't remind me of any current events at all. Welcome to Workers Lit, a podcast about the narrative, or doing something to the narrative. What do we do to it?
Catching fire.
Yeah, catching the narrative. Podcast about catching the narrative on fire.
You know, like, you have to have like a forest fire to burn out old growth and prepare the way for new shit.
Yeah.
You have to have a fire festival to catch fire. Yes, it's all.
You need to burn your wedding dress off in an act of rebellion, which is pretty sick, gotta say.
You gotta burn your wedding dress off. You gotta lie on camera again. This time you gotta up the ante. You gotta be doing that. You gotta be passing out every chapter. You gotta be ripping up your people's backs. There's a lot of things you gotta be doing. We're doing Catching Fire just back to back. We are doing the second Hunger Games book. If you have not listened to our episode on the Hunger Games, probably makes sense to go back and listen to it. I'm not your dad. But if you want to know about the author, things like that, that's on that episode. We're not going to do the whole thing again. So, yeah, go listen to that. But for those of you that are still around, welcome. And may the 75th Hunger Games begin. It's the Quarter Quell. What a horrible name. Quarter Quell.
Yeah.
Wretched name.
Yeah, that was like somebody really needed that. You know what that reminded me of? That's like the guys who like worked on Neom came up with that name.
That's true. Honestly, you're onto something. There is something of like Neom and the Line and a lot of that like really insane like billionaire architectural projects about the Capitol and like the games in general. Like they definitely had whoever is Mohammed bin Salman's like personal architect who just says, yes, sir, that sounds good. That's like how they make the Hunger Games, I think.
What do you think is going on elsewhere in the world at this time?
It's normal.
It's
normal.
Yes.
Yeah.
As with Fallout, as with American War, as with anything, everything's fine everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And like, why would they intervene?
Yeah, they're fine.
Occasionally, like the America stuff is like on TV elsewhere in the world, like in V for Vendetta. Well, in the film anyway.
Everyone's like, yeah, they're doing fine. Don't worry about them. We're glad they're doing their own thing.
Yeah, like people looking and they're like, they seem to have divided production up into districts. They've forgotten crop rotation. This is a bad setup for the Americans.
But this is the interesting thing though. Like there is like there's a harvest festival right in District 12. Like the districts do grow their own food. I think it's more to do like with what they produce like for surplus.
I mean, they grow.
Also, it would not be the first time we forgot crop rotation. Like,
oh yeah. The one of my favorite posts of all time, which is somebody says me setting back my civilization for years, saying, "Haha, Jim says the beans have to take turns."
That's really good.
And with that one roast, we're doomed to obscurity. Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Well, I've got some posts I've collected from this era. Because Catching Fire, released September 1st, 2009, is the second installment in the Hunger Games trilogy. This first book was quite successful, Catching Fire even more so. But of course, when the movies came out in 2012 and 2013 successively, that's when it really caught fire.
Bold move on Suzanne Collins' part to name her second book, "This shit's gonna take off, y'all."
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. And the shit does take off, but this era, I remember very distinctly this like online era. I was a young fellow, sort of. I had a lot of internet restrictions, but sort of probing the edges of my enclosure on the internet, viewing memes on my friends' iPod touches and whatnot. And so I wanted to go over a few memes. I'm gonna send them to you in the chat. Just memes I've discovered along the way. Y'all can react to them, and I'll describe them, and maybe I can like link them in that show notes. But first of all, I found a category of meme that was going around in 2013 that I'm really excited about. I'm gonna send this to the Discord, and y'all can observe it.
Putting my glasses on for this.
This is really good.
Oh, huh. I don't think that's true.
What we have here is the Hayfie trend, folks. I've read several Hayfie fan fictions today in preparation for this episode.
Say that 5 times fast, Hayfie fan fiction.
It sounds like you were going to say Hayfie fun fictions, and I'm sure they were very fun.
I mean, a couple of them were. This is Haymitch and Effie, and it says he wanted her and she'd never tell. Secretly, she wanted him as well, which is, I don't think, textual.
Yeah. I don't think so. I don't know. Like, this is just me being me, but I think Haymitch is gay. Like,
I do. He says he calls Katniss sweetie in a mean way, too often.
Did all these things have like cute little couplets with them?
Oh yeah. We've got Peta and Katniss was
what is their ship name? Peteness?
It should be, but it's Everlark.
Oh,
it's
that
Everlark,
sucks.
Everdeen and Malark. Yeah, that sucks. It would be much better if it was penis.
Penis.
How
much is penis?
Cat
do you think? How immersed do you think Suzanne Collins was in like internet fandom culture to name her characters something that lent itself to that? I wonder if that was deliberate.
Yeah.
Well, because the phenomenon of fandom like ship names is fascinating to me, and like the crowning example, of course, is Ruby, the Rooster Teeth show, which has like 100 characters and like literally thousands of different ships, each of which somebody has come up with a name for.
Yeah.
Well, do you know when ship names first started? Like, you know when it was coined?
Star Trek, right?
No. Some of the earliest fan fiction was Star Trek that we know about, but no. Aisha, do you know this one?
Probably some Victorian thing.
Well, the earliest we have like of the modern version is the X-Files online fan communities, Mulder and Scully. The first time we have someone call themselves a shipper online as a short of relationshipper is about Mulder and Scully. And people were calling them Skulder and
Skulder's good, yeah. Well, the way that Japanese they always like put the way that they do ship names, they always put the name of the person who's the top first. So penis wouldn't work because Peta's definitely not the top.
Well, here's another one that y'all will like. A lot of these that were Josh Hutcherson obsessed. It says, one day we will be watching the news or listening to the radio and you will hear Josh Hutcherson dead. You will stop whatever you're doing, stop whatever you're holding, and sink to your knees and cry. All the memories will flood into your heart, how you swore to marry him and the joy of being a Hutchet. No, he is not just the boy from the Hunger Games. He is our role model, our inspiration, our passion. Repost if you will do this. Repost if you will cry. Hashtag we will cry for Joshua.
This is so... God, I miss 2012 fandom so much. Oh, it was a simpler time.
I trust everybody remembers that that Jenny Nicholson video about like Josh Hutcherson like kidnap fix, like trapped in an island with Josh Hutcherson.
Yeah,
People were
yes,
obsessed with those.
I do.
People loved that shit. Then you had like the self-deprecating Hunger Games meme. That was a big one. And here's what we've got. It's I want a man who is sweet like PETA, strong like Gale, and funny like Finnick. Yup, I'm gonna die alone. There was a lot of those I ran into.
Is Finnick funny?
I
Um,
don't know. I kind of liked his energy.
I like him too, but he's like the hot one.
Yeah.
he's the hot one. He like I guess like if by funny you mean like kind of sexually harasses people.
Yeah.
I will say, like, he's
Um,
very good at, and we'll get into the why of it, but he's very good at yes-anding.
Yeah, he is.
yeah, I suppose he's a
Natural improv guy.
Mm-hmm,
He does have theater kid energy.
and then we've got, of course, the Jennifer Lawrence meme. And it's just people using Jennifer Lawrence reaction faces. The amount of those I saw were really upsetting to me.
Yeah, my immediate thought was also PETA is having a baby.
Yes.
She knocked him up.
And then there's just the kind of incomprehensible ones, and I'll send a few examples of that. For example, one that's just a picture of Katniss and PETA that says, sometimes I wonder that since PETA and Katniss had to win the Hunger Games, stay alive, they were shown the best. But if we could have ignored the author's idea of making Katniss and PETA winners, who would have won the games? Would it still be them or someone else? I think everyone was equally smart, so anyone could have the chance to win.
So, like, if they weren't, like, the protagonist, if somebody else was the protagonist is what they're arriving at?
I don't know.
Josh Hutcherson has such a big head. I am, like, seeing that now for the first time.
And then what would you do if PETA jumped out of the book and kissed you? And what would you do if PETA told you he watched you walk home every day?
You know, now that I look at him, Jacob, he's got remarkably similar bone structure to you.
Yeah, you do kind of
I
look
will
like
take
Josh
that.
Hutcherson, except I don't think your head is that big in relation to your body.
Josh Hutcherson's like 5'4" as well.
Oh.
Like I could punt this.
Get
man.
out.
Short king.
Yeah, no, there's an SNL skit where there's an SNL skit about people in the Capitol not buying that Katniss and Peter are together because of the height differential, that I remember being like really just pretty one note, but it did have one good joke where it's like stand up next to each other because they were doing a press conference and Katniss stands and then Peter says, I've been standing the whole time. All right. Well, those are the memes I found. I spent a lot of time going through it. It was a different era of memes. It was a simpler era. It's a lot of people calling themselves Hutchettes. It's a lot of shippers. This was a, I don't know. I guess I wanted to ask before we get into this, like the fandom culture of the time versus how it's evolved now. How has it changed? How was it then? Why do we think the dynamics are so like different? Is it just because the internet's a more like kind of cynical place or what?
I don't know. I don't necessarily think like shipping like dynamics and like excitement has changed, because like I remember around the same time you had like the big ship wars was like Avatar, right? You know, Katara Zuko versus Katara Aang, right? I don't think that's necessarily gone away. I just think there's so much more stuff that it's easier to silo yourself off into your various communities without really experiencing crossfire from them.
I also like you said, Lenore, like the platform decay I think has really, really affected fandom. Like I was on Tumblr in Tumblr fandom when the porn ban went through and everybody left for Twitter, and then Twitter got bad. And then after that fandom, I don't know where it went. I guess like TikTok, but like or I guess that some people are still on Twitter, but like everybody on fandom is like everybody on Blue Sky is like 40. So like there's not that much fandom on Blue Sky. Not that there aren't 40-year-olds in fandom, but you know.
The fandom you encounter on Blue Sky is like people like us who are like, here's like a analysis of this chapter from this book. You know what I mean? Like we're not calling ourselves Hutchettes.
Yeah, on Blue Sky you get a lot of like, either like Marxist analysis or like, here's my cock.
or because I made the mistake of following Cybersmith, I get a lot of interesting porn now.
The human, that's the human pet guy, right?
Yeah, it's human pet guy. It's worth it to see his takes like in real time, because there's never been a mind like him. But
he's one of the best to ever do it.
I've
seen a lot of diaper fetish porn because of him, though.
I showed y'all that thing that he posted, right? There was like the pyramid of like all the like interlocking like religious and political forces secretly governing our society. God is on there like 6 times somehow.
God is part of the conspiracy.
There's like 32 degrees of being a Mason. That's like to the side of it. There's like it is incomprehensible. I invite y'all to search it out. Maybe we'll put it in the show notes. No,
I liked when he once posted like R.I.P. to our martyrs killed by left-wing radicals, and it was everyone from like Charles the First to Thomas Sankara was on there.
That's awesome. I don't think I've seen the Catching Fire movie, and I really love Caesar Flickerman's bun here in this picture. Great. I love his man bun.
Or like Natalie Dorner as Joanna Mason is great.
Yeah.
She's fantastic.
I like that she's always trying to les out with Katniss.
Oh yeah, at all times.
She's like, "Here's my tits."
Mm-hmm. And it happens in the movie as well. And the only addition is Haymitch is there, and then Haymitch says, "Woo boy," afterwards.
See, that's another gay thing to do.
It had to have been an ad-lib by Woody Harrelson.
Oh yeah. Well, let's get into it. I will say before we start, I think Aisha hasn't seen the movie. Lenore hasn't seen it or hasn't seen it in a long time. I haven't seen it in a long time. The only thing I really remember about the movie is Haymitch saying that, and I remember the game when it switches from the world to the games halfway through the movie, it switches aspect ratios in the movie, and I think that's a really
that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool trick. That's all I remember.
Woody Harrelson is such a good casting for Haymitch, actually.
Like ugly hot is ideal. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just so much aura, but also kind of
Hilary Mantel described such a thing in A Place of Greater Safety as erotically ugly.
Yeah.
I can see it. Yes.
I like ugly hot is a really important concept, I think.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I think it's interesting that this book more than half of it takes place before the games, which is interesting. Because like for the first like third, you don't even know she's going back into the games. It's just like aftermath, which is you get to see like literally like the just conditions worsening.
Yeah, it's Katniss monitoring the situation.
Yeah, literally, Katniss monitors the situation.
Yeah, and
this is the book that starts about 6 months after the first book, because she's got to go on a victory tour with Peeta. You know, she's not talked to Peeta much since their awkward ending to book 1, and now they got to be madly in love again, and we get some really creepy shit. But first, we start with a very bleak open. Let me read this. This is how the book opens. I clasp the flask between my hands, even though the warmth from the tea is long since leached into the frozen air. My muscles are clenched tight against the cold. If a pack of wild dogs were to appear at this moment, the odds of scaling a tree before they attacked are not in my favor. I should get up, move around, and work the stiffness from my limbs. But instead I sit as motionless as the rock beneath me while the dawn begins to lighten the woods. I can't fight the sun. I can only watch helplessly as it drags me into a day I've been dreading for months. So, you know, if you thought Katniss was like gonna be really happy now that she has money, that is not the case, because she has money, but her life sucks. She's scared. She knows, as Haymitch has informed her, that her little stunt with the berries was not popular with the Capitol, and she's going to learn really fast just how unpopular it was, because she has a visitor. The GOAT himself, President Snow.
Well, and there again, right, you have in the opening, right, that sort of assonance with the opening of book 1, which is like the first line of that book, right? When I wake up, the other side of the bed is cold, right? You know, she is, you know, there as here, somewhere that should have warmth, that should be comforting, is not, right? And that sort of frames up the whole thing.
Yeah, they have to do the victory tour, which is like just the propaganda tour, basically.
Yes, and President Snow, the guy who's like barely mentioned in the first book, but he is the dictator that's been dictator for years and years, is at her house, ready to, and she's like, This dude smells like blood and roses. Like he's literally got like a genetically altered rose, so he smells like roses, and for some reason his mouth smells like blood. And he's staring her down, and just he's definitely, this is the kind of guy that is doing the dictator thing where he like thinks about how to be cool ahead of time.
I was gonna
but
say,
it's scary because he can kill you.
Like the blood and roses thing is like, you see that so much in everybody's like edgy OC. That's like, oh, I'm the 14th member of Organization 13 from Kingdom Hearts. That's like really, really, really a really bad dude. You can smell like blood and roses on him. You know, like it's and yet it works because of the institutional power he holds and because of how he's been built.
Yeah. I would say it would be heavy-handed if we didn't know all the freaks and weirdos that actually run our country.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like Donald Trump was complaining that his Secret Service people weren't tall enough because it didn't make him look powerful. And like there was a time where at a military base, he only wanted soldiers over 6 feet saluting him as he walked in, which may also have something to do with his personal proclivities. But that aside, it is also it's also an aesthetic.
Yeah, no fat troops.
Yeah, no fats, no films.
Yeah, literally.
Yes.
For Trump.
But President Snow is there to be like, hey, just so you know, the districts, they really need you to sell them on you're not a revolutionary, you're not defiant, you're in love with PETA. He says you need to convince me. And he even has this moment where he says, she asks if there have been uprisings, and he says, not yet, but they'll follow if the course of things don't change. And uprisings have been known to lead to revolution. President Snow rubs a spot over the left eyebrow, the very spot where I myself get headaches. Do you have any idea what that would mean? How many people would die? What conditions those left would have to face? Whatever problems anyone may have with the Capitol, believe me when I say that if it released its grip on the districts for even a short time, the entire system would collapse. So that's, his logic. He's even like, you may have your issues with the whole Hunger Games thing, but you definitely need us. I promise, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like the brief moment where like she notices him rubbing exactly where he rubs his temple. Her like level of the specifics of the detail Katniss can pick out, and then the big things that she can't see are always really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like that everybody like the plot basically turns around the fact that they know that Katniss is not going to notice stuff that other people would. She's just hyper focused on details because she's a hunter.
Yes.
For one. Yeah,
like,
she is like very...
PETA, she notices PETA will have like a paper cut, but she won't notice like an entire conspiracy that involves everyone in her life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what is she, like high intelligence, low wisdom?
Something like that. Yeah, she knows that a tomato is a fruit, but not put it in a fruit salad.
Yeah, the tour immediately goes to shit because they start at District 11, which was Rue's district, the little girl who died. Her person she teamed up with, who reminded her of her sister, and she, and PETA so Haymitch and Katniss tells Haymitch that what President Snow said, and they're like, okay, let's not tell PETA, because we don't want to freak him out, but also he's so good at this, he doesn't need to be warned, because he's so into you, he's going to act in love with you no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And then PETA's like, oh, for the rest of our lives, we're going to give 1 month of our winnings every year to the families of Thresh and Rue. And then Katniss, like, says something to Rue's family, like, makes a speech that is not very, like, not very Capitol friendly. And then all of the District 11 people do the District 12 salute back to her.
And then that's where we get the thing Lenore read at the top, the old man getting domed, and they get dragged.
They've committed the capital crime, which is solidarity, A.
Solidarity.
And B,
of any kind,
in the middle of a victory tour that is, like our news cycle, right? It is designed to continuously traumatize and re-traumatize everyone who has been touched by the Hunger Games.
Yeah. I do think, the first book is also about this, but I think it's really interesting that really what the Hunger Games themselves are about is to destroy solidarity.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, having everybody have to fight each other. And this book is kind of about, what happens when that doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, even the ruling classes between districts, we learn in this, can't interact with each other without like very specific permission. Like the only district to district interaction we see that's not for commerce, and that's presumably run by these peacekeepers, this like stormtrooper class, is the Hunger Games, is seeing each other kill each other. And the brief moments of solidarity between each other in the Hunger Games are undercut by them literally killing each other in the arena, which, you know, Katniss's unique situation, not only her thing with PETA, but also the fact that she didn't kill Rue, the fact that she gave Rue respect and death, and then the fact that a guy from District 11, Thresh, spared her life at one point during the games and did not die at her hand, makes her sort of the perfect person to, especially in this big, hardcore, repressive agricultural district, be like the person that can kind of set off the spark. And of course, this from the very beginning, even though there's the rest of her tour goes on without event, President Snow is like, all right, well, you fucked up, kid. Sorry.
Right. But we also, another thing to mention is that when she's at the big party in the Capitol, she is dancing with the new game maker,
Plutarch Heavensby.
And he shows her, just sort of very like vaguely, he shows her a watch that blinks with the symbol of a mockingjay. And because Katniss is Katniss, she's like, wow, I guess he wants me to see his cool watch.
Yep. Yeah, she's so cool.
Because she's dumb as all shit.
This role is played by Philip Seymour Hoffman in the movies, and he is so good. And it's his it's his last role hidden in Mockingjay Part 2. It's his last role he ever had in a film. But all that to say is Plutarch Heavensby is, for those of us who are who are reading, it's like, hey, this guy just showed you a secret symbol of a mockingjay and then like said some cryptic stuff, and he was like, we have to know who our friends are. And she's like, that guy's sure got fashion.
Because there's also, she sees an escapee from District 8 with a mockingjay symbol on a like biscuit she's carrying around. Not something, and the book specifically points this out, not something that is like set in like metal and glass, you know, not something that's
something you can eat.
Yeah, exactly, that you can get rid of,
which is smart. Right, but that's connected to when they get back to District 12 and there's like a harvest festival. She's at the mayor's house visiting her friend, Madge.
Yeah, her lesbian friend.
Her lesbian friend, and she passes the mayor's passes the mayor's office, and like his special mayor TV has like a signal coming through, and it's uprising in District 8.
Yeah.
The garment district.
And then you've immediately got like when she's interacting with Capitol people, they're like, it's been so sad that the bad weather has kept my feather shipment from coming in, or like, strange how few oysters there's been this season, you know, like this kind of you know, you see it kind of starting to impact them, like just little tidbits here and there, which I think is really fun. And you get this, you know, this building tension in Katniss herself too, because obviously there's the pressure on her and her witnessing these people in the Capitol, seeing them more, talking to them, and they're kind of talking to her as a pseudo insider. Some of them are. She gets to see how the sausage is made. She gets to see people in the Capitol having a party where they throw up multiple times during the party so they can keep eating. A real thing that's been done in real societies, by the way. When I was in Croatia, Diocletian's palace, they had servants at those palaces whose whole job was to help people throw up. They had no other role in their lives except be like throw up guys at parties. And you know, people weren't doing great in the fucking like Roman times, food wise, all over the kingdom, but that's how the rich people were eating. And obviously that's going to piss off Katniss. And she's going to, so she's also encountering this like on a grander scale. But her first instinct is, of course, to flee. It is to get out of Dodge.
Yeah.
Right.
And
so she tells Gale that she wants to run away, and Gale thinks it means like, oh, she's running away with me, because Gale is really into her.
Yeah.
And he's like, I love you, and she's like, I know.
He literally does that. She does the Han Solo. Yeah.
I know,
She
yeah.
gives the I know.
It is so human, like how Gale, the alienation that Gale feels from Katniss, right? I know it from both sides, right? If you've ever been in a relationship where your partner has like a better job or like generational wealth or whatever, like the lifestyle gap, right? It doesn't preclude being with such a person, but there's that constant anxiety, however irrational, that they can provide something you can never materially repay. That's where he is at,
Right.
right? He doesn't want her game.
Katniss has also said multiple times that she's never wanted to be married. She doesn't want to have kids because they would have to be in the running for the Hunger Games. And she also, it sounds like she also just like, I think this is also really, well observed, just because she spent so much of her life actively starving. She doesn't really seem to have much of a sex drive at all.
No.
Just because, like, that's one of the first things you lose when you don't have enough to eat. So it's not really something she even thinks about.
She's essentially horny for the first time at one point in this book.
Yeah.
Where she's like, I had a kiss that made me want another kiss. What is this?
Yeah, she's like, I don't know what is this feeling? So sudden and new.
Yeah. And this is after a year of like eating well, like she like she gets back to that point. But basically after her like considerations about running away and like, ideas that seem kind of foolish to us, Gale gets beat in the town square for the normal act of just bringing back like a turkey or a goose, because technically that's been poaching the whole time. No one's cared, but the capital is now tightening. And as Princess Leia once told Grand Moff Tarkin, the more you tighten your grip, the more star systems will slip between your fingers. And that's what's starting to happen here, because Katniss sees this and obviously is horrified. You have a really gnarly scene of Gale just getting his back torn up, and then the medicine afterwards. Collins has not stopped with the very sort of body descriptions that are pretty gross here. And that's where Katniss says, my choices are simple. I can die like Quarry in the woods, or I can die here beside Gale. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay right here and cause all kinds of trouble. Me too, Gale says. He manages a smile before the drugs pull him back under. So,
right.
Yeah.
But then she goes to Haymitch and she's like, I want to start an uprising. And he's like, don't be stupid, you silly bitch. Because he's like, no, bitch, we're doing an uprising. But he's like, he doesn't want to tell Katniss, because what does he say? Nobody ever let Katniss make the plans.
Mm-hmm. He's like, Katniss, you haven't even read what is to be done. Shut up.
Yeah.
Katniss, you haven't read
I like
any
that Katniss is the dumb friend.
Mm-hmm. She is.
She is a jock.
Yes.
Is what Katniss is.
Well,
and like, that's interesting when Peter describes her, like, he says that's like in the first book, he kind of let slip, like that's how she was seen at the school too. Like everyone was like, yeah, that's
hot
like
and dumb.
Yeah, that's like the cool, like strong girl that always has meat and that hangs out with Gale, who all the girls like, and sits by herself.
When they did superlatives, she was voted most likely to win the Hunger Games.
Right, yeah. Like, and no one noticed, and she's like, living like a Tina Fey from a 30 Rock, thinking that she was like the bullied kid in school, and everyone was like, no, we were all so scared of you.
Mm-hmm. Well, and which makes it all the more remarkable, right? She has such a deep well of compassion for people. If only they show it to her.
Right.
I did love that the stylists were like instant deference to Katniss' mom. I thought that was cool. I think I once again continues my thesis of all of Katniss's like moral decisions are driven by guilt. Like she's when she sees that, like, yeah, there's an empathy, but it's also I suck for feeling bad about them. Like, it is really every single angle. She always is driven by guilt in some capacity. Like, I'm going to fuck something up no matter what. I'm going to do the best I can because I'm a bad person if I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Katniss so rarely has any kind of positive vision. And it's really beautiful whenever she has a spark of believing in something, because you can see someone who's been beaten down so much, but someone who continues nonetheless. She is the person that President Snow never wanted to exist. The concept of the Capitol is we're going to beat these people into submission. And Katniss is someone who's been beaten down, so hard that there's nothing like left to beat down. And so she might as well keep going. And there's all these different things that you can pull on in her life. But the thing is, you've already risked those things. Prim's already in the reaping for the Hunger Games. Her friends already can get beaten in the town square. People she already can starve to death. She can give away her winnings to people who deserve it, and still people get murdered in the street in front of her. And so the Capitol, through this campaign of fear, through this campaign of tightening their grip, has actually led to like a group, enough people who are like, well, fuck this. And then they think they have their final hand, which is the Quarter Quell, which is President Snow saying the people in the new Hunger Games, the 75th Hunger Games, it's gonna be reaped from victors. It's all gonna be people who won previous Hunger Games.
Yeah. And Katniss is the only person who's ever only girl who's ever won in District 12.
Yeah, and when they say previous Hunger Games, they mean previous Hunger Games. Like there's a girl in District 4 who's like in no fit mental state to compete because winning drove her mad, and an 80-year-old woman who won the 11th Hunger Games volunteers in her place. It's harrowing.
It's so hard, though. Mm-hmm. I love Mags. Mm-hmm. Mags is like, fuck it. Whatever.
It's her,
she does something extremely metal later, too.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's her, and it's like the evil twink from New Orleans, Finnick.
Yeah, he is the evil twink from New Orleans. I love Finnick. He's so funny. I love how hot Katniss thinks he is and how much it annoys her.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, we get, Lenore said, we get a bunch of Blorbos. We get a bunch of Glup shittos now because, and this is Tumblr fuel. This is, I'm going to be Joanna Mason in the RP. You're going to be, I don't know, like Craig.
Yeah, Joanna Mason's like an evil lesbian who's always taking her top off.
Yes, there's you got all kinds of people. You have evil lesbian, you have sex pervert, you have evil twink, you have cool old lady, you have nerds, you have drug addicts, you have and then you have a few guys who are just genuinely like ripped and ready to kill you.
You have Haymitch but hot.
Yeah.
You have Haymitch but hot. Yeah.
Oh, I also love that they watch Haymitch's, they watch the video of Haymitch's Hunger Games, and Katniss is like, oh, he was kind of hot. That's weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about this.
It's like your hot dad.
He unlike Ben Richards of The Running Man, he manages to hold his intestines in.
Yeah.
Skill issue.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, we meet everybody. Finnick is like, here's my dick. Joanna's like, here's my tits. And then everybody's like, PETA is like, they're making fun of you because you seem so virginal. And she gets really mad at him.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not a virgin. He's like, well, you literally are. That's fine.
Yeah.
They do develop this interesting relationship where PETA, continues to be obsessed with her. And she really does care about him. And like, she starts coming to him at night to sleep with him, not sexually, but just like to drive off their mutual nightmares. They have a very sweet thing going on. It is kind of tortured as it is. I definitely saw something of like, I don't know, there is a type of like young person, especially like older teenager to young 20s relationship of like people that kind of have like a weird messed up romantic vibe between them, but they're codependent in this way that I saw thought that was like really, that really spoke to in a really kind of realistic way. A lot of times I've seen it in like a straight person and a gay person, or like a sort of gay, like I'm just talking about my own life at this point. But like, I don't know. I found that to be like, I thought Katniss and PETA in this book, in the lead up to the Hunger Games, to be like this sort of really effective, kind of really harrowing emotional thing. And I think it's cool that the book isn't Katniss just being like, well, Gale's hot and PETA's hot. Because that's your classic love triangle, and that's true.
Yeah.
But it's just like her being like, I like forced to be in the situation, but like I don't know how exactly to describe it. She's doesn't really want either of them and does want both of them. She wants to be a person that could want them almost, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, what she wants is a non-standard relationship, right? I think that she'd want to have a different thing with both of them.
Yes.
And because it was 2008 and a YA book, that's not really how it could go. But like, also, I mean, I really liked that. So when I read it, the thing that I liked the least was the love triangle. I found PETA very boring.
Mm-hmm.
I don't now. Like, I have more of an appreciation for him now. I think that, like, I can understand sort of the nuances of his character better now. But reading that article where Suzanne Collins was like, PETA and Gale are different revolutionary impulses. Which I think is really interesting. Like, Gale is the firebrand and PETA is like the slow burn, sort of. He's the incrementalism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like choosing between two different worldviews.
Yeah. And two different entire skill sets and backgrounds.
Yeah, and like the prospect of the prospect of going off on their own, right? Because Katniss floats it like in chapter 6 or so. Like, yeah, the two of us could just escape and like live on our own, and like that's what drives a wedge between her and Gale. He's like, I don't want anything they made in the Capitol, right?
Right.
Which is where like the pros. And Aisha, I think you're right. I think there was some editorial, like, okay, be a little more explicit about certain things, because, like, right after that, Katniss's internal monologue is like, oh, was that directed at me? And it's like, okay, we could have figured that out on our own, girl.
I feel like, I mean, I don't know Suzanne Collins personally, but I know other YA authors who have written books and that is, I think, 100% what happened. The people were like, you need to explain the emotional undertones of this for stupid children, even though children aren't stupid.
There were wolves, but the real wolves at the door were the peacekeepers.
Exactly.
I think that you can see a material improvement in certain types of prose in this book. I think like in the, like, she's describing like PETA painting or landscapes or things like this. I actually like the prose better in this book, but I think
they are better.
I think there are moments like that do feel very tacked on. Whether or not they feel that way. But plot wise, things really come to a head prior to the Hunger Games at the Caesar Flickerman ceremony where, you know, not to be outdone. You know, last year, Katniss had a cool dress. PETA said that they were in love. So it was like, okay, well, the whole time people are talking shit. You know, they're talking to Caesar Flickerman like, hey, maybe this Hunger Games shouldn't happen. And another person is like,
maybe it's illegal. Did you check the rule book to see if a dog can play basketball?
Yeah, somebody else said if President Snow's so powerful, he could probably just override this, right? Or like they couldn't have imagined how much we'd love each other.
Well, and that's what fascinates me. Like, sorry to cut you off, but like,
no, you're fine.
How malleable is public opinion in the Capitol, and how much of an overinflated opinion of their own importance do these people have, right? Because like PETA drops that bomb of like, oh yeah, by the way, Katniss is pregnant, so like that's unfortunate. Like, you know, we're not going to be able to like have the family we have, and people in the Capitol are like on their side. They're calling for the games to be like altered or like called off or something. And like it's very much like they do still have a sense of innocence about like you know, children, about families. Like there is a sense of humanity, however skewed in these people.
Their interaction with it, though, is like people being mad at an author for killing their characters.
Yes,
though.
exactly.
Like it's not like a human solidarity. It's like can't believe you killed Ned on Game of Thrones, like yelling at George R.R. Martin.
I also think I really like the fact that they want to punish the victors, but they miscalculate, I think, by doing this, because they don't understand the thrall that these people have over the public.
Right.
And it made me think of Donald Trump constantly being like, well, you know, they cheated. The Democrats are cheating, and because nobody actually votes for them. And also like, oh, Iran is immediately going to take over their government because nobody likes the Ayatollah. And it's like, no, man, like actually most people hate your guts. You just like don't, and it's like the government is like, oh no, the Capitol people are all on our side, and it's like, no, they're not, brother.
This actually came to mind of like the Trump Musk style of like dismantling the institutions that have actually been helping you so much because they're woke. Like being like, these fucking victors, why do we have to deal with them? And it's like, the same way they're like, why do we give foreign aid money to these foreign countries that don't do anything
to do CIA ops,
right?
you moron.
Yeah, like that, or like, why do we have this NATO thing? We can just rule directly. And it's like, why do we have the United Nations? Because sometimes they criticize us. Why have a
soft power? I want my power to be hard as a rock.
Yeah, exactly. Why do we have opposition media that sometimes criticizes us? I just wanted to say I'm good the whole time.
Just like we
right?
said in I don't think we quite developed this thought in the Who Paid the Pipers of Western Marxism episode, but yeah, they are getting much worse at the concept of immanent critique, right? IMNANENT, right? Critique from ostensibly within your enemy, from within your alternative socialism, or like from within your like alternate vision for like Iran or whatever. Not that they aren't parading around monarchists, right? But the media landscape has changed. These people are command so much less of a platform and resources than once they perhaps did.
Well, what does get resources and attention is Katniss's wedding dress, and I do want to read this section because it's iconic. To frame it up, Katniss is put in a wedding dress to go up to the top because she was supposed to get married. The Capitol voted on her wedding dress. President Snow, to humiliate her, was like, Cinna, stylist man, that's really cool and has gold eyeliner and is hot. Make her wear that. And Cinna's like, bet. So she goes up on stage and she's wearing the wedding dress, and then Cinna's like, make sure you twirl while you're up there. And so we get this. My voice trembles as I speak. Only that I'm so sorry you won't get to be at my wedding, but I'm glad you at least get to see me in my dress. Isn't it just the most beautiful thing? I don't have to look at Senna for a signal. I know this is the right time. I begin to twirl slowly, raising the sleeves of my heavy gown above my head. When I hear the screams of the crowd, I think it's because I must look stunning. Pretty funny sentence. Then I notice something is rising up around me. Smoke from fire. Not the flickery stuff I wore last year in the chariot, but something much more real that devours my dress. I begin to panic as the smoke thickens. Charred bits of black silk swirl into the air and pearls clatter to the stage. Somehow I'm afraid to stop because my flesh doesn't seem to be burning, and I know Cinna must be behind whatever is happening. So I keep spinning and spinning. For a split second, I'm gasping, completely engulfed in the strange flames. Then all at once, the fire is gone. I slowly come to a stop, wondering if I'm naked and why Cinna has arranged to burn away the wedding dress. But I'm not naked. I'm in a dress of the exact design of my wedding dress, only it's the color of coal and made of tiny feathers. Wonderingly, I lift my long, flowing sleeves into the air, and when I see myself on the television screens, clothed in black except for the white patches on my sleeves, or I should say wings, because Cinna has turned me into a mockingjay. So
Cool.
Katniss is doing resistance by becoming a furry. We all knew this would happen.
I mean, earlier in the book, right, it's mentioned that that District 10 is the Hugh Cow district.
That's probably one of those fan fictions if I had read deeper.
Right. So then, and we discover that there are people in the Capitol who are part of the resistance, because that's always true. There's always going to be members of the ruling class who are going to be part of the...
class
and they blend so easily into like larger society, because like what is the disconnect in the information environment between the capital and the districts is so complete that like what is a symbol of resistance in the districts is just like this hip new fashion trend in the capital.
Right. But the interesting thing is this book shows where art can become revolutionary, right? In the first book, Cinna is pushing the bounds by honoring District 12, by using the Mockingjay iconography, by having the fire. He's pushing things. In the second book, he pushes it another level forward, right? He doesn't just stick with the fire. He doesn't just...
And he gets killed because of it.
He gets killed because
harrowing in the film to watch.
And it's a very effective way of like, you can... A guy inside the system like Cinna who is pushing arts to the absolute boundary of the system until it gets him destroyed. But effectively so. And I think that's interesting too, because there's also like a world in which the Mockingjay in the Capitol just stays that kind of, cutesy symbol, but him doing that makes it defiant enough, burning the wedding dress in a forum which everyone is going to be watching. I find it very interesting. It's very like, I don't know, like certain celebrities trying to use what platform they have. Just vanishingly few, but a few of them. Things like that And there is also a difference in between, Cinna would not have been this revolutionary if he had stopped at his actions of book 1. That would have just been kind of subversive. But he takes another step in this book, and I think that's where it becomes really impressive. The last thing I want to say before the games is that there's a moment where all the victors who are now once again tributes hold hands, and they raise hands, and they show solidarity, these people that are supposed to kill each other. And I think, and once again, it's going to fall apart to some extent once we get into the games. Not fully. Katniss doesn't know all the machinations going on, but once again, it is subversion within the system, and the Capitol doesn't quite know what to do about it because the Capitol has once again overplayed their hand. That's just a big theme of this book overall. And
hubris.
And then do we have anything we want to talk about outside the Hunger Games before we get into the 75th Hunger Games?
No, I think we should talk about the Hunger Games.
She was like, let's get real weird with it.
Yeah, this one is really cool, actually. I like that the arena is like a character. The TikTok, this is a clock stuff.
Yeah, they're all trapped in TikTok.
Yeah. They're doing dances.
Honestly, a modern Hunger Games retelling where Katniss has to do like TikTok dances and like point at things to like get fucking food.
It's horrifying. In the future. You don't get more modern than that.
Yeah, she's like doing like a little anime girl dance and pointing like doing the infographic like PETA is PETA and I are in love. You should send us a silver thing from the sky. Yeah.
Right. So when she gets out and the cornucopia is in like the middle of like ocean, and she immediately swims for it because she knows how to swim because her dad taught her how to swim. And then fucking Finnick, who is like a fish, like swims out and is like, I'm a fucking dolphin. And he has a trident, which is also gay for some reason. I don't know why having a trident is gay to me.
No, it's definitely gay.
And then she immediately teams up with Finnick. Like, there's like not a moment she's not teamed up with Finnick in this.
And it's because that ahead of time, Haymitch has given him a golden bangle to symbolize an alliance between the two of them. She did not agree to this alliance, but basically Haymitch pushed it on her from outside the arena.
Yeah.
Because Haymitch is always doing his little games.
So she teams up. So it's PETA, Katniss, Finnick, and Mags, who is the other tribute from District 4, and who is the 80-year-old woman.
And from the beginning, they are much more confident. They've been training for this. Katniss at the very beginning is like shooting people.
Yeah, Katniss is like, we gotta get swole.
Yes, she's like kicking ass this whole time. Like Katniss, this is like her book that, if I remember correctly, she stands out the most as like a physical specimen. Like she's shooting people down. Pretty much every straight fight she's gonna win. Like
fights a bunch of monkeys.
Oh yeah, no, this arena is a clock and it's fucking weird. There's spokes of land going out throughout the water. There's a ring of jungle, and at different hours on the hour you have the fall. You have like
acid fog,
and there's no Lenore anymore.
Oh no, Lenore, they got her.
The acid fog got her. All right, folks, if Lenore's audio is a little off, that's because we suffered a cyber attack by the Capitol, but we are weathering it well. Lenore's modem is down. Her hotspot is up. We fight on. And so does Katniss and friends, because they form a group, and we're not going to go blow by blow. You can read the book, but there's all kinds of monsters. There's evil monkeys. There's acid that kills you. Acid smoke that kills you. There's waves that crush everybody. There's lightning. There's literal blood storms. There are birds that speak with the voices of your family and loved ones, screaming and begging for help. There's all kinds of really messed up stuff in this Hunger Games. And Katniss is going to make a series of alliances as we go on. We have a really gnarly scene where while they're getting chased by the mist, the old lady Mags. It's Mags, right?
Yeah, Mags. She just is like, she kisses Finnick on the mouth and then throws herself into the fog.
Incredible.
Because all of them are trying to keep PETA and Katniss alive. Well, specifically keep PETA alive because they know that without PETA, Katniss will never agree to be part of their revolution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is what you said about the birds that mimic the sound of like your like screaming family and friends or whatever.
The Jabberjays.
Yeah, the Jabberjays. Like that, I must have missed that when I was finishing it up. But like that, and there's so many parallels in this to shit that Israel does, right? Like they're on record as like playing the sounds of like children laughing or like crying or whatever to draw people to locations so they can bomb them, right? There's a bit earlier in the book where there's an uprising in District 8, right? And they announce that, okay, like business as usual again, go back to your factory, and then they bomb the factory, right? To bait people there because they know that there are some factory people who are like agitators, right? It is there is such real mendacity to what the Capitol pulls.
I also comes to mind the U.S. psychological operations in Vietnam, where they would play voices saying, "We're the ghosts of your disembodied friends, begging you to stop fighting this war." And then the Viet Cong were like, "That sounds fake. We're going to go to where those sounds are coming from and kill the people there." But
yeah, well, I mean, that's like the thing with Western powers, right? They think that everybody else is stupid.
Right.
Like they think that everyone will just, that's like when they talk about the Palestinians, like with Gaza, they just expect them to scatter like animals.
Yeah. And basically the alliance ends up, they bring in a few more people. They bring in Joanna Mason, who we talked about. She's edgy. She's cool. She's not afraid of the voice birds because she says, "Everyone I love is dead." And then she walks off. We get Beatty and Wirus, who are like nuts and bolts.
Nuts and bolts, they call them.
Only one will make it out because they're both like nerds who won the Hunger Games, like through traps and trickery and being like artificers from D&D. And once again, they're in on the conspiracy that Katniss is too blind to see. Despite it being quite, I think at this point, fairly obvious that there's like more going on that she doesn't realize.
Yeah, because they keep getting deliveries of bread in certain numbers, and Finnick is like, "How many rolls did we get?" Because they're giving them like messages from outside.
And Katniss is like, "That's weird. It would be better if they sent us cold water."
Katniss is like, rolls.
Yummy, yummy.
Yeah. So they have like a plan that's like very convoluted, which is like put a wire from this tree that gets struck by lightning on the hour at 12 and midnight. And then electrify the water to kill some of the people that are on the beach. And I don't know if this was ever a real plan. I don't think that it is. I think it's to just get Katniss in the right place.
Yeah, it strikes me as fake because like it's replaying the hit, right? That's what she did in the original Hunger Games. So it's something that she recognizes and something that resonates with her. But no, I agree. There is a larger purpose here because like there's not that similar disconnect between the resources of the career tributes and the hunting capabilities of the not career tributes, right? Because they're all kind of subject to the same arbitrariness to an even greater degree than in the first book.
Right. And then Joanna just fucking knocks Katniss out to cut the tracker out of her arm. She just fucking dopes her.
Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, I found some fan fiction about how this part could have gone differently. Just saying.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah.
Well, anyway, Joanna knocks Katniss the fuck out. I guess in fan fiction they have sex or whatever. Mm-hmm.
Well, what I saw specifically was it turns out the tracker's not in your arm; it's in your, and then you can kind of get where it goes.
Oh, nice. Pussy tracker.
Yeah, it's super sick.
I do think we tip our hand a little bit early with Finnick saving Peeta from death in chapter 18, like as directly as he does. Like he does like the forgotten CPR knowledge because like he comes from swimming land, so he has to know how to do this.
I do love that Katniss is like, whoa, when he just kisses him.
Guys,
she's like, when he kisses him.
Gross.
Whoa.
Their ways are strange on the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, this California boy with his blonde hair, like sunshine from Remember the Titans. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, they do not tip their hand early enough, though, for Katniss to pick up on it. She's just like, wow, he's so nice.
What a nice guy. It's going to suck to murder him.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we get what the plan was the whole time. There's a force field. We've known the whole time these force fields have little blurry spots that are like vulnerabilities. And then we see Beatty, who has tried, the nerdy guy, who has tried to get out, but it's not quite worked. He's not managed to touch the blurry spot and get the lightning through. He's been trying to.
So Katniss shoots it with an arrow.
Yeah, let me read that because it's sick. And it's like right as the lightning strikes the tree, she launches
so
the thing
cool
with
in the movie, too.
the arrow with the wire. And I'll read. Katniss! Peeta's voice howls for me, but this time I don't answer. Beatty still breathes faintly beside me. He and I will soon die. Finnick and Nobaria, that's a lady with teeth that are filed to points, will die.
We found something malignant on your Inabaria.
Yep. Peeta is alive. 2 cannons have sounded. Brutus, Joanna, Chaff, 2 of them are already dead. That will leave Peeta with 1 tribute to kill, and that is the best I can do. 1 enemy. Enemy. The word is tugging at a recent memory, pulling into the present. The look on Haymitch's face saying, Katniss, when you're in the arena, the scowl, the misgiving. What? I hear my own voice tighten as I bristle at some unspoken accusation. You just remember who the enemy is, Haymitch says. That's all. Haymitch's last words of advice to me. Why would I need reminding? I've always known who the enemy is, who starves and tortures and kills us in the arena, who will soon kill everyone I love. My bow drops as his meaning registers. Yes, I know who the enemy is, and it's not an Obaria. I finally see Beatty's knife with clear eyes. My shaking hands slide the wire from the hilt, wind it around the arrow just above the feathers, and secure it with a knot picked up in training. I rise, turning to the force field, fully revealing myself, but no longer caring, only caring about where I should direct my tip, where Beatty should have driven the knife if he'd been able to choose. My bow tilts up at the wavering square, the flaw, what did he call it that day? The chink in the armor. I let the arrow fly, see it hit its mark and vanish, pulling the thread of gold behind it. My hair stands on end and the lightning strikes the tree. A flash of white runs up the wire, and for just a moment, the dome bursts into a dazzling blue light. I'm thrown backward to the ground, body useless, paralyzed, eyes frozen wide, as feathery bits of matter rain down on me. I can't reach Peeta. I can't even reach my pearl. My eyes strain to capture one last image of beauty to take with me. Right before the explosions begin, I find a star.
For more about securing things with the knot, go listen to our Woods All Black episode.
For sure.
Anyway, so then she gets picked up into the hovercraft and she wakes up and she does her usual freak the fuck out thing when when they take her security Peeta from her, she freaks out.
She loves to do that.
Mm-hmm.
She thinks
this is so raw, though.
Yeah, she thinks the Capitol has her and they just keep her doped up. And when she wakes up, she finds out that no, actually it's the rebels have her, and it's Haymitch and Finnick and a couple of other people.
And we get her running in with a syringe to kill somebody. Haymitch grabs her arm and says, "Done knocking yourself out, sweetheart?" The annoyance clear in his voice. I careen forward and he catches my wrist, steadying me. He looks and says, "So it's you and a syringe against the Capitol? See, this is why no one lets you make plans." Again, this man is gay.
She is fully ready to give Peeta an embolism to spare him of whatever fate the Capitol has.
Yeah, she's literally fully in murder-suicide pact territory.
So
Katniss can flip over into we have to kill everyone mode very easily. She has a berserker mode.
Oh yeah.
Well, right, because
she goes rage.
There's a bit on page 118 where it sums up how abraded her identity is, right? How obsessed she is with being useful to somebody if all she can be is a tool, right? The berries. I realize the answer to who I am lies in a handful of poisonous fruit. If I held them out to save Peeta because I knew I would be shunned if I came back without him, then I am despicable. If I held them out because I loved him, I am still self-centered, although forgivable. But if I held them out to defy the Capitol, I am someone of worth. The trouble is, I don't know exactly what was going on inside me at that moment.
Yeah. So we find out that the Capitol has Peeta. They did not get him. They only got Katniss. They saved Katniss, not Peeta. And she fucking throws herself at Haymitch and with her nails.
Yeah,
and like
gets
slices his face, and then the two of them start like trying to kill each other, and they have to be separated.
And it's the very end. They have her tied down, and they have Gail visit her, and Gail is like, "Hey, I got your family out," and she's like, "From District 12," and he's like, "There is no District 12," and that's how it ends because District 12 has been firebombed out of existence.
Yeah.
The uprisings have begun in
Jesus.
earnest. District 12, as we know, coal district, everything covered in coal dust, and presumably, they just decided it wasn't worth it, and they've eliminated it. But a lot of people she knows has gotten out, and they are in the forgotten District 13 that they were told was destroyed, that they told had no capacity to resist, that were told they were the sort of the symbol of all that is wrong with rebellion. It turns out that they have sort of existed this whole time. We'll find out in the next book that they've been sort of in a nuclear detente with the capital for the last 75 years.
Yeah, it's like if Hamas had nukes.
Basically, or like the Cuban Missile Crisis. There's definitely
Yeah.
like that kind of thing. Or North Korea. Yeah, they're like, Katniss, we got you to North Korea. Don't worry. That's basically what we're dealing with here.
There's actually no law in District 13 saying you can't come. Like the Capitol says you can't go there.
Anyway,
that's what we're dealing with. And the Mockingjay will talk a lot more about District 13, but it turns out there is this like hidden base of resistance, kind of scary and sad and isolated as it might be and rumored.
yeah.
It does
As it turns out, there often is.
Mm-hmm.
There usually are people standing up against a corrupt government. You just have to find them
and help them critically.
Yeah.
And that's where we conclude the book. I mean, it's a very, I imagine if you were reading this and the third book hadn't come out, this would be a very frustrating ending. I would be like, no, big cliffhanger there. But it hits super hard as well. I don't know. What are we thinking as the book wraps up? Certainly Katniss is in a rage, things are bad, but what do we think? I don't know. Broader themes, reflections, etc.
I mean, a bad cliffhanger is one where you genuinely have no idea where it's going to go. And I don't mean like you have to know how the plot's going to play out. I mean, like, if you're going to do it right, you have to have a sense of like things going on in the background, right? You have to have a sense of like forces arrayed one against the other, right? And be able to speculate, right? And that's what's going on here. Like so much of this book takes place outside of Katniss's perspective, right? There's so many, even more than in the first book with Haymitch wheeling and dealing to get the sponsor gifts in the arena. There is so much more going on in terms of negotiations, in terms of alliances being built, in terms of dual power being formed, that she's not privy to, right? So that does help us, speculate and look forward to Mockingjay. But as I understand, there's debate over like whether it's like as good.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Different people
We'll
feel
see.
different ways.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to not let my perceptions of it when I was like 13 determine what I think of it now. But yeah, Aisha, what are your thoughts?
I liked it. I think I liked it better than I remember liking it. I think I remembered not liking it as much as the first one, but I did. I liked it. I like the themes of solidarity in it and like the sort of like escalation crisis of the crackdown of the Capitol. It kept making me think about Andor.
Yeah.
As many things do. How like when in Andor, they do that like terrorist attack and then Mon Mothman Mon Mothma is like well this is gonna people are gonna die, the capital, the Empire is gonna crack down, and Lucian is like good, that's what we want people to be desperate. And I kept thinking about that.
George Jackson saying effective challenge to power must make the repression felt universally. If it's felt only on the revolutionaries, then it's not a very effective, that's
right.
To reveal the actuality of conditions is basically what
he
says there, which is a very brutal perspective, but it is, the kind of, but it's, and it is, this is the Capitol only has a hammer, so everything looks like a nail, the book, and the fire has indeed caught. But of course, the casualties are disproportionate, right? Like, for every one of them, for every peacekeeper that gets brought down, as they call their people, like, I mean, you get like a district, literally District 12 wiped off the map,
Yeah.
like to the point of non-existence. Um, and in this era, you know, in this moment where as we speak, bombs are dropping, wiping cities off maps in the name of the United States government and Israel, and whatever Western coalition they're trying to pull together. That hits extra hard, and the stories of resistance hit extra hard. And I think one thing that stands out to me is how, like, Katniss doesn't have to be superhuman. She has to be good at the things she's good at and has to fill her
Yeah.
role, and other people fill their roles, and it keeps going. And also this legacy of resistance, a thing we didn't talk about. She has this Mockingjay pin from her friend, and it turns out her friend's mother who gave her that pin, and her friend's mother is very sick, has very severe like migraines, mental issues, and that mother's her sister, you know, the her friend Madge, who gave her the pin's aunt, gave her that pin originally, and she
She
died in
died at the
the
games.
same Hunger Games
Yeah.
as Haymitch, and was friends with Katniss's mom. And that legacy of resistance, just passing on that pin and continuing to exist, and having another generation that's imbued with the skills necessary to survive. You know, Katniss's parents' generation, they resisted by cleaning the wounds of people who got whipped and keeping them alive, teaching people how to survive in the mines. Her dad's contribution to the revolution was teaching her how to keep her family fed with a bow, you know.
Yeah.
And that legacy too, of like person after person after person, until victory and preservation, and having more grit, more gall, being able to take the destruction of your district, the beating of your people, the death of your family, and still keep going in a way that nobody in the Capitol could possibly conceive of. You know, they have an equally freaked out reaction to losing their shellfish for a week. That is like kind of, there's something very true to that, I guess I'll say.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm excited to read the next one, and I'm excited to watch the movies too. Like, I'm also excited to read the new book that's coming out, actually, the Sunrise on the Reaping, which is about Haymitch.
Songbirds and Snakes has a movie too, I think, and I haven't read that book either.
Yeah.
I think that's like about President Snow being young or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I'm kind of not
Yeah.
interested in that guy.
I
He
agree.
doesn't seem, he's not like a sexy villain.
Yeah, the
Well,
thing with
and it's-
President
it-
Snow
it-
that makes him interesting is that he's just this kind of stupid guy who's like, I'm gonna be so cool
Yeah.
and scary, and like there's
But
a
you-
deep
I mean,
vapidity there.
I'm
Yeah.
sure that I'm sure the book is good. I haven't heard
Right.
anything about it, but like, yeah, Sunrise on the Reaping, I definitely want to read.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that's Snow's thing. You're absolutely right, Jacobs. Like he knows everything, right? And he has the entire resources of the Capitol at his disposal. You know, like it's. I don't know how interested I am in seeing like Snow Begins, because this is like him at his most interesting, of course. It's there's also a thing that like he has some weird connection to District 12, to specifically like Katniss's, like Haymitch's kind of circle, that in which he recognizes the Mockingjay pin as well from that time, from what it
Yeah.
means. Donald Sutherland doubtless was told this going into the film, even before Songbirds and Snakes was released, of course. I don't know if I buy, like, because my frame of reference for that sort of connection is new Star Wars, right? Is
Yeah.
two bloodlines, having all the Force potential in the world, right?
Yeah.
So, like, there could be something interesting about how the ruling class learns from, keeps its ear to the ground, and like, performs like imminent critique, and like learns from its revolutionaries. But there could not be. I trust Suzanne Collins to do something interesting with it, though.
But yeah, ultimately though, pretty cool. And I'm interested in Sunrise on the Reaping. I'm interested in this era that is so many decades prior, that's decades prior to any motion happening, of people just staying alive and keeping each other alive till the moment comes. It's very like,
It's the second Quarter Quell too, so there's like twice as many tributes. There's twice
Right.
as many Blorbos.
Actually, Sunrise on the Reaping, she said, is literally about how there was revolutionary action happening, and the Capitol has erased it.
epistemic.
Let's
Like
go.
Haymitch
Okay.
was doing revolutionary action.
Yeah.
I mean, recall how close the United States got to, a more general uprising during Vietnam. Go back to our fucking Fighting Times
Yeah, with
episode
Jonathan Melrod.
with Jonathan Melrod fighting like street to street battles with the National Guard over his anti-war activism.
That was a great episode. Jonathan Melrod talking about being one of the only white people to ever get to defend Bobby Seale. It's so cool. And it was like, yes, they gave me the trench coat and everything. It's so sick.
That's awesome.
It's a great episode. People should listen to it. But great. I don't know where things are kind of fluid right now, so I don't know next week what we're going to be covering. We're definitely going to get to Mockingjay soon, but we want to all be on the Mockingjay episode, so we'll let you know.
I'll be in gamer hell next week.
Aisha's going to,
otherwise known as GDC.
Aisha's going to GDC. If you see her, be like, "You're from the Workers Lit podcast," which is
yeah, exactly.
It's ever done.
If you recognize me from my voice, yeah.
If we get recognized from an audio medium, yeah.
I love I love the one guy who like saw a picture of me for the first time and said, "Wow, it's always weird to see someone's face when you've heard their voice for years." And I was like, "Does my face match my voice?" And he goes, "Well, it has to. It's yours." Bye, y'all. Yeah. And I thought that
guys.
I thought that was kind of poetic.
That's so nice.
That's so nice. I have an interesting relationship to that dynamic, but I don't know. People say they like my voice, so
Lenore, you've gotten a lot of compliments on your voice through the years. So, all right, folks. Well, with that, does anyone have a episode specific sign off? Do something like that? I don't know.